buying 104 US cents, 73 euro cents and 65 pence sterling. Now, Rod North is the Executive Director of Bourse Communications. He joins us now for more on finance. Rod, good morning.
Good morning, Virginia and Mark. Good morning.
Look, can we talk just for a moment about Greece and about the potential French bank lifeline and some other lifelines as well? We also heard from China. That, to me, was the news story of yesterday. China saying, don't worry about it, we've got the cash. What do you need?
They have got plenty of money because, of course, they've lent America a lot of money. So, that's another issue that we've got to deal with. But, look, certainly one of the key things is going to be what happens with that legislation being passed this week on the austerity measures. And clearly there's got to be substantial cutbacks right across. Greece has obviously lived beyond its means for a long time, and the austerity measures in relation to particularly public sector, the fact that they'll need to look at things that are owned by the government and whether they should be privatised, all these things, I think, measures that the world is looking at, in particular world banks and the IMF, to see whether they're prepared to lend further money. And that deadline, of course, is next week on Tuesday for that $16.2 billion that Greece needs. So any help that it can get from anywhere, I think, is going to be important, because this has really put a pretty sort of dark cloud over the financial markets at the moment, you know, right across the world, and including our own market, which is sort of going nowhere fast at the moment.
And markets here could be therefore skittish, combined with the end of financial year volatility as well for some time, potentially.
I think that's right, and I think, you know, for the next week or so, at least until we see some sort of resolution. I mean, the market's very pessimistic, and we've seen it drop quite substantially. We've seen a drop in the Australian market of 10%. We're almost back to where we started at the beginning of the year. We have this sort of terrible sense of deja vu for 2010 as well. And of course, anyone, you know, obviously watching their superannuation, you know, will be not terribly happy unless we start to see markets move on.
Don't look at my superannuation, and I advise most people to do the same.
But yet, you know, in contrast, we had sort of BSI Shrapnel sort of forecasting the fact that, you know, we'll have, you know, much better markets and likely to see rates, you know, at 10% in 2 years' time. But that's a long time away. We've got to sort of deal with where we're at the moment in the current market.
Now, there are some concerns, are there, about the national accounts for the June quarter? Don't say we're going to get two in a row.
I think that would be a terrible outcome if that happens, but bearing in mind we're awfully close, only days away from the June quarter finishing, and the question is, and a lot of people are talking about the fact that has the economy picked up enough in this quarter to throw up a positive figure? Well, there is a big doubt about that. We may see another negative figure, which of course would not be good news, because that would put us in a situation where we've had 2 quarters of negative growth, which would technically mean we're in a recession, and that is still quite a distinct possibility, and we won't know that until August, because those figures don't come out until then.
You got anything bright for us this morning?
Well, the bright news is that this will mean that the Reserve Bank will not be putting rates up again this year.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good call. Thank you.
Well, so that's good news.
Yeah.
We'll take that. Rod North, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks so much.
Now to sport.